This is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Leslie Backoff.
And I'm Brent Jackson.
And today our guest is Mansour Abu-Rahmeh. Mansour came to America from Amman in 1982 to go to school in Arizona. Returning to Jordan only to fulfill his military commitment, Mansour entered the telecom industry after graduating school and remained there until 1992, when he made his final switch into real estate. What makes Mansour successful? Welcome to the podcast, Mansour.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great.
So how are things? How's life treating you these days?
So far, so good.
So far, so good?
Yeah. Hopefully, I'd like to have nicer, cooler weather, but...
Oh, it's been blitzing here. It's
know.
105 degrees yesterday with the heat index. It's crazy.
Yeah.
My little guy is on a sailing boat. He woke up this morning saying he has vertigo. He doesn't want to go back out on the boat, but it's like 9 o'clock until 2 p.m. or no, 3 p.m. And I'm like, you're on the boat the entire time? He's like, I'm on the boat the entire time. And they tried to flip it yesterday, him and his buddy.
Yeah.
They got in trouble, and they're
So they can go in
crazy.
the water?
So
Yeah,
he doesn't
he
want to
needs
go
to
back
jump in.
today. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to be out there at 105 degree weather either.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming out. We'll just dive right into it. Like, tell us a little bit about your history, where you're from, how you got into real estate.
Okay, so I am from Amman, Jordan. I went to school in Arizona. I did my undergraduate studies at University of Arizona in Tucson.
How did you get to Arizona from out there?
So my dad knew someone in Arizona, and he felt comfortable sending us there.
Okay.
And we never met that person till maybe 20 years later after we
wow.
graduated.
Wow.
But it just gave him a peace of mind having someone that he knows having us in Arizona. So I went to school in Arizona, did undergrad in management information systems. We used to use these cards, write programs, and it used to be all these cards that will flip.
Right.
So that's how long ago I did my MIS. Then after that, I went to school called Thunderbird American Graduate School for International Management, and that's in Phoenix, Arizona, actually suburbs of Phoenix, Glendale. And I did a master's degree in international management.
Okay.
Emphasis on marketing. Of course, do I use any of this in real estate? Probably, but I don't know how.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Arizona?
I was in Arizona from 82 till 86.
82 to 86.
Yeah, and the reason my bachelor degree was only 2 years in Arizona because I went to American University of Beirut and did 2 years there. Then because of the war there, I had to leave and then move to Arizona. So I did 2 years in Beirut, Lebanon at the American University. Then I finished my bachelor's degree at University of Arizona.
Okay. Wow. So it says here that you had to fulfill a military commitment. Can you kind of walk us through that and what that was like?
Yes. At the time, everyone in Jordan has to serve in the military for 2 years. After you graduate, no matter, you have to serve in the military. And I did that. I did 2 years. I was in boot camp for the first 3 months, which was interesting. I used to run a lot, so I was actually voted the fittest person on camp.
Okay.
I know it's hard to believe. And after that, I was assigned to work at what we called at the time, it was called the National Medical Institution. And it was a new institution. And what they tried to do, they were combining all medical hospitals, the university hospitals, the government hospitals, and the military hospitals. And we used to purchase all medical supplies, medical equipment through our office.
Okay.
And because I had a master's degree and I spoke English very well, they hired me to work there for 2 years. Then after I finished the military, I continued to work with them for additional 2 years.
Wow.
Then in 1990, actually, that's when I got my green card and moved to Washington, D.C.
So what drew you to Washington, D.C.?
I have cousins here, and I had one cousin who just moved actually a year before, and I came and started working with him. They used to do import-export, and
So
I worked with
you're
them
in the
for-
import-export business?
I was the import-export business.
It's like a Seinfeld episode. Import-export.
I know.
So when then did you decide to get your real estate license?
So at the beginning, I started working. So I worked with my cousin. Then, you know, I had no career there, right? So I started to move to corporate America, and I started working in telecom. I started working with Sprint, then moved to another company called Frontier that became Global Crossing. And I worked with them till 2004. And after that, I was like around 43, 44. And I'm like, okay, midlife crisis, I think. But I was looking to change careers because actually with Global Crossing, the next step was to move me out of the DC area
Okay.
and go to New Jersey. And I had no interest of leaving this area. My mom lived here, my sister, my nephew, and I wanted to stay here. And I was always intrigued by real estate. Then a good friend of mine was working in real estate already, and he had his own small team, and I started working with him. He was with Remax Allegiance.
Remax Allegiance?
Yeah.
So were
Yeah.
you in DC proper? I mean, see, some people say DC, and it's like they live out in
Yeah.
Herndon or something.
So-
I'm like,
When I moved here in 1992 till 94, I was in Arlington. Then in 94, I moved, 90 till 92 in Arlington. Then 92, I moved to Washington, D.C., right downtown on 16th Street and
Okay.
Florida.
okay.
Beekman Place.
Beekman Place, that's
Yeah,
a great,
yeah,
yeah.
great neighborhood.
I wish I
area.
still have my
Yes.
unit there.
I think everybody probably bought something in the 90s, wish they held on to what
Yeah,
they
I know,
had.
but I
So-
couldn't even afford it at the time.
So then you joined with the Remax guy at Remax, or you said he was
Yeah, so
going-
he was part of Remax, and it was Bill Hunchel.
Okay.
Then we started our own boutique firm, which was Hunchel Real Estate. It was him as a lead and a small group of us. And after that, we were one of the first people actually on 14th Street. Logan was still not developed. And I think 4 years later, Sotheby's acquired Hunchel Real Estate.
Okay.
That was a
And-
great firm. I remember when I first got in, we were on 1410 Q Street as TCR
Yeah, I
Sotheby's.
remember. Yes.
And then when the market started to shift, we all moved over to Georgetown. But I remember y'all's office there at 1506. I think
Yeah, 1506, 14th Street. Yeah.
Wow.
And he had some really strong agents under him, like yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Great company.
How many agents were in that firm?
At the time, maybe at some point, we were around 30.
Okay.
So when you got into the industry at 2004, the market was hot. Things were going great. So like, how are you getting into leads, open houses? Like, where are you getting your business
yeah.
from?
So at the beginning, first I talked to Bill. I said, I want to start doing real estate. I'm going to keep my job with Global Crossing because I thought realtors only work Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay.
Then I learned 7 days a week,
Not
and it's
the
not
case.
enough time, right? So he said, if you want to do real estate, you really have to do it full time, which I said, okay, I was ready. I started doing full time. First, I approached all my friends. And usually I don't like to talk about myself. I don't like to say when people ask me what you're doing, I'm very like, I don't talk much about it.
You're
But-
mild-mannered.
yeah.
Right.
Then
Yes.
when I started doing real estate, like what are you? Oh, I have a career change. I'm doing real estate. So I was more outspoken and telling people and my friends that I was doing real estate. And immediately, like it was a busy market. And I listed my best friend's house in Mount Pleasant. That was my first listing. And all my friends started working with me. And it started really busy from the beginning.
Right. That's
Like,
good.
I remember I used to like Saturdays and Sundays start 9 a.m. and not finish till 6 p.m.
So you're starting at 9 a.m. What are you doing at 9 a.m. when
Just
you first
started
Starting with
started
Showing.
showing properties.
Okay.
Like I just pace my clients, maybe like an hour in between, and show properties.
you go all the way into an open house, I'm assuming, and you do an open house.
Yeah,
from,
and I
like-
do an open house. Yeah, I did lots of open houses.
Did you have any success doing the open houses early on?
Yes, I met lots of clients. Actually, one of my clients, I even went to their wedding in Serbia. It was someone that I met at an open house. And they bought, we became friends, and it was my first trip to Serbia, and it was really fun to attend the wedding.
That's an awesome
Yeah,
That's very
experience.
cool.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
good experience. So yeah, open houses worked for me.
Do you still host open houses now, even later on in your career?
Not as much as I should.
Sure.
Yeah, I should do more open houses, but not as much.
So, you've gone from, you've had a brokerage of your own, and you've, then you were with Sotheby's and now Compass. What do you look for when you're, thinking about potentially going to a new brokerage? Is there anything specific?
Nothing. I mean, I like the support. I think
Mhm.
working, each brokerage has its advantages that it works for me. But at the end of the day, it's my business. I like going to the office. I'm always in the office. I
Mhm.
like being there, interacting with other agents. That's like really important to me, just to bounce off ideas of other people. So that's really what I look for.
Is the
Yeah.
people in the office. Were you at Remax, or you started straight with Houndshaw Real Estate?
Yeah, I started, Hansel was part of Remax.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they had a
So-
group at Remax.
So they had a group.
and then
yes.
they broke off, and he started his own practice.
Then he started his own practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we came in and acquired you.
Yeah.
I don't know the back end math,
Yeah.
but
Just
yeah. So you were kind of forced to fall underneath the Sotheby's umbrella. Well, you
not
weren't forced, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a bad
yeah.
choice of
Yeah,
words, but
I
like,
mean, we were happy that actually,
right.
because different companies approached us, and we all wanted TTR Sotheby's
Right.
at the time to be
Yeah.
the one. And when they made the decision, we were very happy about that.
Yeah, and you guys had some really strong, great agents. And I remember Bill Hounshell, when we first took over that office, we were upstairs from him, and I'd be in the office every morning at 8 o'clock. He was always in there doing his thing. He had his little dogs running around there.
Yeah, Butch.
Butch, and he was like so focused and driven on making sure that all of his team, all of his agents were extremely successful.
Yeah.
And he would come up and chat with me and give me points and tips on like how to, reposition a property, how to go after a certain client. Like I really enjoyed
Yeah.
his time with us.
Yeah, I learned a lot from him. Actually, it's funny because I passed some of this information to some of
Some of your
my team members. Yeah.
Right. So, and then you were with our firm for a while. You crushed it at Sotheby's, and then you decided to move over to Compass. Can you walk us through like some of because I know when you were with our firm, it was you and Karam, your business partner.
Yes.
Is he a business partner? He's
Yeah, we're heading that, all of us, as
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
and then but you grew from quite a bit from like your time with us to where you are now as far
Yeah.
as your team.
Yeah, so we started, me, Karam, and I remember when Karam started with me, I always tell him the story. His mom was a client of mine, and I was talking that I have all this overage business, and I need some help. And she said, Karam is looking actually to establish a new career, and possibly that might be a good fit for him. And we're still at the old office at 1506 14th Street, and Karam started with me, and I'll be on my desk here. It was an L shape, and Karam will be sitting here, and it was like, oh, I just, I like my being independent. I don't want someone right like next to me. Then like
You liked your space.
then 6 months later, like if Karam leaves, I'm like, no, come back, sit here.
Aw.
Right.
Like, and that's how we developed.
Grew
like,
attached to
the
him.
partnership. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How is your team structured now? So you and Karam, and then do you have
So
other
there is
agents?
there is myself as the lead.
Okay.
Then there is Karam, there is Catherine, Kim, and Eric. So there is we're total 5 people, and it all happened naturally. I wasn't planning on having a team. I wasn't planning on growing a team. We just get along, all of us, really well,
Great.
and just makes it easier to work.
Do you have back
Together.
office support in the ad, like marketing, listing coordinator, or do you use what Compass provides?
So, like some of the agents started with me as support, then they become agents. But as of now, we support each other.
Okay.
And like we have Catherine takes care of the social media, for example.
Okay.
But we support each other with everything.
So
But it will be nice to have. It's hard to find support,
yes.
but we have some support also at Compass, like contract to close and
Mhm.
listings. That helps a lot also.
And you're pretty busy. I mean, you've had a strong book of business since you entered the industry in 2004. So, like with your contract to close, I mean, are you handling that, or do you punt that off to the Compass people?
Some of it handed to Compass people, but I like being hands-on, which maybe is
Mhm.
not very good. So I go through everything again.
Right.
I'd like to check on everything, and it's
Or maybe that's why you're successful, is
Right.
because like you're so hands-on with
Yeah.
your clients from
Yeah.
start to finish, where some agents, as soon as they get something, it's like the mindset of get them in the door and then punt them to the team and go after like the new
Yeah.
client out
I
there.
like I go with them to the home inspections. I go
Right.
with, I just want to handhold them, whether first-time home buyers or second home buyers. I like to be with them all the time. And I like to be the one who's interacting with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question I have is, as far as like your client database, you mentioned when you first started in 2004, you were knocking on doors, family and friends. So, almost 20 years later, where's your book of business coming from?
It's still, so we don't advertise.
Okay.
Most of our business is based on our client and their friends and their friends.
Referrals.
Yeah, and referrals. That's all referrals out of our base. We mostly farm our base, and that's where most of our clients are.
So when you say farm, what does that entail for you?
Just we're always in front of them. I like socializing. I like going out with them to like dinners, having client appreciation parties, just be in touch with them. Like when we send postcards and everything to our listing, we don't send it unless, you send for the sphere of influence, like around that area, right? But then we always target our clients to let them know that we are still out here.
Okay.
We touch them as many times as possible during the year.
How
So-
many? Sorry.
Go ahead.
How many events do you do a year for your clients?
We do one major one
Okay.
and few small ones in different locations.
Is the major one? Is it like an annual?
It's an
fall
annual client
event?
appreciation
Okay.
party.
Yeah.
And what is that like? Because we're in the process of planning our own group party. So we're going to steal some of your...
Exactly. Trying to get some information.
Yes, I can give you some.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because this year I've been like shopping for an area that's outdoors, indoors.
Mhm.
Right.
And we'll see. We're like trying to make a final decision on where to go and where to have it.
So would that be like a restaurant that you guys are
Yeah,
shopping
usually
for?
we always do it at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we always do it at the restaurant. It's easier because they have the food, they have everything ready.
And then as far as like the time and day, is it a certain time of the
We always
Day?
do it 5 till 8.
5 to 8?
Yeah, and
Like,
on a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have a pretty good turnout?
We always have, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how are you getting in front of them? Is it like a postcard or Evite or phone calls?
We,
text
we send
messages?
them an Evite and a written invite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the process of planning our group party now. We're thinking about doing an art gallery,
Yeah.
bringing in like a caterer to have the hors d'oeuvres and
Yeah.
the drinks, maybe a band or whatnot. But I'm seeing a lot of stuff on social media right now across the board with all of our peers that are doing these lavish parties, whether it's out at a wine country in Virginia or a sporting event or whatnot. But there's a lot. We've been
Yeah.
pent up for like 2.5 years.
Yeah,
So
I
people
know.
have
Everyone's
money to
out.
spend and
Yeah,
want to spend
yeah,
it and
yeah.
We can
whatnot.
finally get out and mingle with
Yeah.
people. It's
So
great.
I'm always like, when it's in one country, like I'm always like worried, is anyone going to show up?
Right.
Is, it's like,
I'm always cautious about like the destinations because to your point, it's like,
if,
are people going to drive an hour and a half to go to this?
yeah,
Like,
then are they going to have a drink, then drive back? Or how are
Right.
we going to provide transportation?
Sure.
It's just a lot to think about. That's why I think for me, like a restaurant is easier.
Right.
Or an art gallery would be a great idea. Anything that's in town, people can just, take the metro, Uber, come to it. I think it's just easier. And I'm going to guess more people will attend.
right.
But I haven't seen on social media, like these wine parties, are people like in the wine country, are people going? Is it crowded? Is it?
The ones I've seen have been well attended. And I think what they do is, this is going to sound bad, but like they take a drunk bus, right? So you load up here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Everybody gets on. They're having a great time. They go out to wine country somewhere out in like Warrenton or whatnot.
Yeah.
They have a great time. And then you get them back on the bus and bring them back into
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. But to me, that's a full day event. And I like to
Right.
you, it's
Yeah.
like 3 hours max. I need to go. I don't want,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
my clients. I love everybody I hang out
Yeah.
with, but I'm also very private. I want my time to be
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
my time.
Yeah. Yeah. That is
So-
and I'm the same way. I mean, that's a long day
Yes.
to be on all the time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So walk us a little bit through your typical day.
I walk to my podcast in the morning. I come here now.
Your daily podcast recording.
I'm getting really hot now.
I love it.
No, so typically I wake up. Do you want to know how early?
Sure.
Should I
I
say
would.
like 4 o'clock? No, I'm kidding. There is no way I'm up at 4 o'clock.
So you're not the Brent Jackson.
I'm not the Brent Jackson. I had one agent, actually, I was working, and I'm like, you're up late because she sends me emails at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I thought she stays up till 4
Oh,
o'clock in
wow,
the morning
yeah.
because I like staying up late. Like
Right.
sometimes I'm up till 1, right?
Sure.
And she said, no, that's when I wake up. I'm like, you wake up at 4 in the morning?
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that if you're sending the emails at 4:30, it could be the different perception. Like you had a rough night or a late night,
Yeah.
and now
Right.
you're
And that's when I
going right to
thought.
work.
Yeah. But she said, no, that's when I wake up. She said she goes to bed at 8 o'clock. I mean, there is no way I'm going to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm up at like 7:30. I set the alarm around 7:15. I got up at 7:30. Like, look at my phone, check my emails. Then I have my cereal, go on my laptop.
What kind of cereal are we eating here?
Yeah.
Okay,
I love cereal.
I know. So I was hooked for the longest time on Honey Bunches of Oats.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
I think there is something in it that's so addicting, right? And
Their commercials are great too.
and their commercials
Yeah.
are great. Yeah, I'm there. And suddenly I switched to Cheerios. So for the past year, I've been eating Cheerios.
I'm not a Cheerios fan. I gotta
It's-
put the
What's your
honey on
cereal?
it and like. But I like
Yeah.
the junk cereal, like Oreos, Cookie Crisp, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do like the overnight oat.
Yes,
And it's
that's
like-
what I do.
So much work. It's like I just want to go home at night and like
Yeah.
not work, not do anything.
I
Yeah,
batch
yeah.
make it, so I make like the full week on
That's what I
Sunday.
should. You know,
and
that's what I should
then-
do.
Yeah.
Will it last that long?
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's oats. I wouldn't probably leave it for a month, but
Yeah, no, I would not. But
yeah,
like I can do it for 3 days. I
Right.
went and bought these, like what do you call them, the jars.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fancy. I just use little Tupperwares, but
No,
So we
please.
have our honey bunches of oats, and then what
Anyway.
does Mansour do?
Then after that, I go to the office. I love being in the office. I'm in an office, definitely an office person.
Yeah.
And just like I check my emails at home, but if I want to do like more work, I have to be in the office. I have my desktop. Like I have a large screen at home. I work off my laptop. I like having the large screen. If I want to negotiate a deal or anything, I like being in the office.
Yeah.
I feel I'm stronger there.
Right.
Right.
And most
And-
people are.
Does-
And
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Does your team also typically come into the office, or is it?
yeah. Like Karam is there a lot. Like Karam and Catherine are more office people
Mhm.
also. Karam mostly were there every day.
How long do you guys stay in the office?
It depends. Sometimes I stay late.
And what's late? So our lates are
can
going to be
st-
different. Mine's like 5. Yours might
no,
be
no,
like
no. Mine could be 8.
8.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like
Yeah.
Rob Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we're with Mansour Abu-Rahmeh from Compass Real Estate. Very successful guy. And we're just walking through his typical day. And you were mentioning to us that you stay late in the office. You're there till like 8
Yeah,
o'clock.
sometimes I stay till 8 o'clock. I work better in the evening.
Okay.
And during the day, I'm always like either looking at listings, checking on our listings, previewing listings. So I'm, just doing work outside. So I'm in and out of the office and sort of distracts my work or showing
Right.
properties.
Right.
Then in the evening, it's like quiet and I can accomplish a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. I
yeah.
think a lot of agents come in and it's busybodies, but you need that as well. Like finding
Yeah,
out
I
what
like
other
that,
deals,
but
what's
yeah.
going south, what's
Yeah.
not going
Yeah.
south, what new listings are coming down the pipeline
Yeah.
from other agents. It's key to be in the office. I tell that to everybody.
Yeah.
You don't got to be there all day, every day, but have a routine, right? It can be 8 to 12, 12 to 5, or 8 to 8,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
works,
yeah.
but have a routine.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
What's your work-life balance if you're working around the clock and you're out there from 8 to 8, it sounds like?
Well, I learned. So let's go back a little bit. I mean, I'm not always 8 to 8.
Okay.
Sometimes I stay late. But when I started doing real estate, I was working all the time. Then I learned that wasn't fair, fair for my partner, my family. So
Yeah.
I learned to say, no, I can do 8 a.m. in the morning, but I can do 10 a.m. in the morning,
Mhm.
right? So now I know how to schedule my time and give myself and, enough free time to have the balance of, working out, socializing, having dinners. It's good to have the balance. Just makes me actually work better.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely important to block those times and create the boundaries, you know.
Yeah. I used to think like I'll be at dinner, and like when I started doing real estate, and I'll be dinner with friends, and then I get a call, and I used to think I'm the most important person. I have to take this call. I step out. Then now I know it could wait. You know, it's important also to be present with the people you're having dinner with.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's tough though, because that's something I think all of us agents, and we've been doing it a little bit longer than Leslie, and you can chime in too, but it seems like every situation is different. If it's a regular phone call, I might put it away and not take it, but it's like if you're in the middle of a big transaction and you're at like I remember I was at a school auction, and we were negotiating a $2 million deal. It was multiple offers, and it was the night of the auction, and it's like, you know, they're raising their paddles on, you know, raising money for the school and bidding on different things. And I'm checking my email. Lucky for me, I'm able to, like, you know, the agent called and said, if you can make this change now, we'll wrap it up. And I'm at the auction, and I can do everything on my phone as far as like mark up the contract, put it through DocuSign, and have the client sign. But still, like, I miss, you know, 45 minutes of the auction. So it's, I don't know.
I agree. The same thing happened to me. I was at a dinner party, and it was a group that we meet with like once every other month, and you have to be there on time. But we were in multiple offer situation, and there were 4 offers, and our offer, we weren't the highest, but the listing agent wanted the financial information sheet.
Wow.
And I sent it to her on time. The bid that was higher than us could not send it to her. They were not responding to her email, and that's how we won the deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when negotiating, I mean, you have to be available.
You've got to be responsive.
Which is unfortunate, but I mean, that's our business, right?
Yes.
I've recently had the experience where I was heading out of town for a weekend for a friend's wedding, going to California. So obviously there's a time difference there. And, you know, I think kind of the age old, when you leave town, everything happens.
Yeah, of course.
Literally, that's exactly what happened. I had someone wanting to write a contract, you know, on the buyer side. I also had a listing that had been sitting for about a month, and we got an offer. And I was like, okay, I mean, this is great, but also I'm just trying to go to a friend's wedding. And of
You're
course,
trying to get through the
happen.
checkout or the security at the check-through at the airport.
Was sitting in the BWI airport as I'm getting the call, we want to write the offer. And I was like, okay, well, I'm about to be boarding a plane. Thankfully, we had a delay. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I can do this. But, you know, so I don't know. I mean, definitely it's still, you know, I'm working through kind of how to create some boundaries, but at those points you really can't. I mean, that's your livelihood to go ahead and, you know, make those contracts. So
you know, pivoting here, going back to how you're cultivating your business, you say most of your business is from referrals. Do you guys keep track? Do you guys have numbers like 80% are from referrals or flyers or past clients?
I can say 80%. Yeah, I mean, that's a good...
it is about 80%?
Maybe higher, maybe 90%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's
that you
really
have
impressive.
90%.
Yeah.
Diving a little bit deeper into that, you mentioned the parties and you're staying in front of them. What else are you doing to stay in front of these, like 90% of your business coming from referrals? Let me rephrase it. I mean, like, are you on social media? I mean,
so
like
we are on social media. Yeah, we're on social media. Like we send mailers as much as we could. We send them like for different occasions. If I know, I try to remember everyone's birthday and anniversary if I do.
Right.
And then I'll text them, say happy anniversary or happy birthday. It depends on how close I am to them. I could call them. Just things like that. If someone has a baby, I'm always immediately give a gift to congratulate them on the baby.
Yeah.
Just things like this. Personal things.
Okay.
Reach out to them. Valentine's Day, Halloween.
Yeah.
So what are you using? This is one question we always ask all of our guests that come on the show is what CRM, if any, are you using? We've heard everything from like Excel spreadsheet to some elaborate like Sierra, Follow Up Boss. So what is Mansour using?
Excel.
You're using
spreadsheet.
Excel?
Yeah, I love Excel, but I wish there's a system that will fit what I'm looking for, and I don't think there is one.
Yeah.
Or maybe there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your spreadsheet has like birthdays and anniversaries on there?
No, not everything. We're trying now to work with a CRM that will have all this information. But I love my calendar. So I have my Google Calendar on my phone. It has all the information. I have everyone's birthday on it, everyone's anniversary, everyone's when they settled, and I have I save it in a way that it will appear every year forever, right?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. So that's how I remember everything, even my appointments, even the appointment today.
Right. That's the most important thing, and we've always said it, and Max has said it in the past, that the best CRM you're going to use is one that you go back to and regularly use. Like for me, it's Apple reminders, and to your point, birthdays or keeping up with clients or whatnot. It will ping me like, okay, today you've got these 20 follow-ups to do, so you need to do it.
Yeah.
If I don't, then it just rolls over to the next day.
Yeah.
If I do it, I can do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. So it's you've got to find something to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting in this industry that there hasn't been, a technology company that's really come in and just, said this is going to be the real estate CRM. Because I think that there's a big hole there that someone could do. You said, I've heard on the street that you are a great gift giver. So is there anything in particular that you typically, give as a closing gift, or is it just kind of depends on the person?
It's the same. I used to do. It's interesting. I used to do.
You might get in trouble with this. You tell out the gift, and someone calls you, and it's like, wait, I didn't get that.
I give everyone the same gift, no matter what.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, first I started, I did the bottle of champagne and the gift certificate. Then I started doing the Tiffany gifts. Then I found them too personal. Then I stopped doing them. And now I'm going back actually to a nice bottle of champagne, a gift card to a nice restaurant, something like that. Yeah, but nothing. I
was actually in the... is it Cork and Fork across from our office? And I was getting a bottle of champagne for a client, and I, mentioned it's a closing gift. And the owner, I believe, he was like, "Oh, are you a realtor?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Do you know Mansour?"
I'm always there. Yeah.
So you are
Dominique. I'm always
their
there.
best customer, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Means you have a lot of closings.
So thank you for joining us. We're here with Mansour from Compass Real Estate. Going into your book of business a little deeper, as I like to say here, can you share with us your most exciting deal in your 20 years of doing business here?
So for me, the most exciting deal was selling to a family member.
Oh, fun.
And we have all these deals, but it's my favorite cousin's son who moved here to work at the World Bank. And he was looking to buy. It was very exciting because he's very special to me. Helping him was fun and hard because you want to go the extra step,
the weight of the world is on your shoulders at that point.
You don't want to mess that up.
We don't mess up with the family. But it was exciting. It was fun working with him.
Yeah.
And it was special, of course.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Do you have a challenging deal? It could be a client or just a deal. We've heard stories like days of walkthrough, just craziness happen. We're dealing with a couple of crazy deals now that are going sideways.
I can't think of anything crazy. I'm sure I had plenty of those.
It's selective amnesia. We block those out. Focus on the positive.
Repressed the memory.
I know you've kind of shared with us, but is there anything aside from following with your clients that makes you successful? I mean, I personally think it's your mild manner. I mean, you're so easy to talk to. You're a phenomenal person, and walking along the street, I mean, you're just always happy. So that's coming from me. I know you've mentioned you're following up with your clients, so they must feel the same way. If 90% of your business is referrals, is there one other thing or maybe that is it, that's making you successful?
Well, I think I learned that. I can go back again. So I learned something from my father. Always said, be honest, be honest. And I think I'm very honest with my clients. I'm not there for the sale. I know at the end of the day, I always tell them, I'm not going to tell you buy this property. It could check everything on your wish list, but you're going to walk in and it's going to be a feeling. You're going to feel that's the right place for you. But I can point out what's negative for you. I'm honest with them. I say, maybe I'll think twice about it. I think honesty takes you a long way. Also, I'm always representing them and their best interest. I always listen to what they want. And I think that's important to listening to your client.
Yeah, and the honesty thing I think comes with experience, because some of the questions that we can't answer, there's ways to have them go to certain places,
Yeah,
like
of
for fair
course.
housing issues and whatnot.
Yeah.
But those are the questions that buyers ask us on a regular basis, and they want the answers, and we have to, as agents, be able to point them in the right direction to get the answers
Correct.
to the questions that they want. The question I always hate the most is, would you buy this? Right.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like, I'm not living here.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to say I don't like it or whatnot. So it's like always trying to find a pleasant way to say, I'm not answering your question.
Yeah. I remember when I first started doing real estate, I like certain type of properties, right? And I wanted all my buyers to buy the same thing I like.
Okay.
Then I learned, you have to listen to what they want. Someone might say, they want to fix their upper. They see this house that needs tons of work, which I don't want to deal with, and say, we love this house.
Right.
So I learned not everyone has to buy what I like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions here. I don't know if you have any more, Leslie. So how do you want to be remembered in this industry by your peers, from your fellow agents?
I'll go back to honesty. I'd like to be easy to work with. Sometimes other peers might not think, because, I'm still representing my client and their best interests. So if some things did not work out, it's okay. But in general, I want to be a person to be remembered that was easy to work with, fun to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done a couple of deals, and they've been easy. I think we were going back and forth on text last night, and my first ever dealing with you was through Karam at the Apollinae. It was on an inspection item, and I was being a dick, but I was representing the client, right? And the client was like, "No, I'm not paying for this like $500 home inspection item." And I told Karam, I'm like, "Take it or leave it." And I think he got flustered because he had just got into the industry, and then you called and you were like, "Hey, look, we're all in this together. We're going to be doing deals for the next 20, 30 years. Let's just, all get along and just make the deal work." And I was like, you know what? That's sound advice. And I took it, and the deal went through smoothly. But that stuck with me. And other people have said that too, but like that's sound advice. Just we're all in it together. We're all going to be doing this for years to come. Like, what's the right thing to do? Just make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we should make it easy for each other also.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We're still representing our clients.
But like,
yeah. Do you set, yearly goals as far as, number of properties you want to sell, or is it more that you have a, monetary goal, or how
Actually,
do you...
I do not. I mean, I should. I always want to beat the year before.
Okay.
And then every year, like, oh, are we going to make it? Then we always end up doing better than the year before.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that's the only goal we have as far as number. At least I do as far as numbers.
If you had to go back to 2004 with all of your years of experience and success, what would you tell little Mansour?
You don't have to sell what you like. No, I'm kidding.
Well, that could be it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, you learn, like I learned, of course, make time for the family and, family and friends, partners. I think that's important. What else I can do? You learn with time. And that's a great question, actually, because I thought about the other day that I wish I did things differently when I was younger. But I think that comes with experience also.
Right.
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions, Mansour. It's been a pleasure. We do have our rapid fire, but is there anything else you wanted to discuss? Or Leslie, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Anything else you want to share?
I'm ready for your rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Here we go.
Mixing it up a little bit here. What is your guilty pleasure?
Easy, ice cream.
Ooh.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
Favorite flavor?
I love vanilla.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easy. And actually, I like cardamom. They have cardamom flavor, which is delicious.
Ooh.
Yeah. What is that?
Cardamom.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a spice.
Yeah.
Oh, I would.
Petango has it. It's really good.
I think it was in Washingtonian. There was an article about like best ice cream sandwiches, and I think it's like Nightingale something or other, but it's made out of Richmond, and it's in a little brown bag.
Yeah.
And I saw it yesterday in our little corner store, and I went and got one. I'm like, so that's what it is. And it was really good.
Was it really good? Yeah.
I sent those to my dad for Father's Day. He loved them.
Did you like
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
So ice cream. Favorite restaurant in DC?
Favorite restaurant in DC?
Or it could be outside of DC if you like to frequent outside the Beltway.
I can't think of anything. I go to so many restaurants. I like we're regulars at like Logan Tavern, at L'Oreal Plaza, where I see Rob Sanders all the time.
As you know,
Royal
those are
Plaza.
Rob's favorites too.
I mean, these are easy to go to. For food, I mean, I like going to, which I haven't been much to, is Maidan has great food. I like
Yes.
going there. Yeah, there are so many I can't think
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
You're a foodie. What is your, hobby outside of real estate? What do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing outside of real estate?
Travel. I don't do much of it, but
This is a
been-
3A. What would be your travel destination?
So we love. So one place I love going to is Palm Springs, California.
Okay.
It just speaks to me. People ask me why. I said, I just don't know. We go there and it just feels really good. It feels nice being in the mountains.
Mhm.
The air just feels good being there.
We have to get you a second home there.
Possibly.
Number 4, only because I'm fresh off of Lady Gaga.
Oh, I saw the video. I saw you took
Yes.
your daughter,
I
right?
took the whole family. We got there at blitzing hot, 100 degrees, ton of people. We were in the club section, so we did have access to air conditioning. She came out on stage at 9:15. I was ready to go at 10:30. Finn and I, my son, was both ready to go, and she was like dancing, doing her thing, and we're like, "Let's go." She threw a fit and was like, "No, we're not leaving." So we stayed for the rest of the show, which
Yeah.
was good. Got home at what time? We got home at 12. Jumped in the shower. Still up at 4:30 for the Tuesday meetings. So, but that's my little concert story. My last concert. What about yours?
Last concert I've been to, I don't know if you've heard a group called Dead Can Dance.
I have not.
No.
They're not Pop 40, are they?
They're not Pop 40, but I just was introduced to them like 20 years ago. And actually, I saw these are the last concert I saw was at Wolf Trap.
Oh,
Wolf
cool.
Trap?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Were you up singing and dancing or kind of just chill?
just chilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Last question here. Would you rather have coffee with Reese Witherspoon or Kate Hudson?
Reese Witherspoon, of
Reese.
course,
Why?
because I love what's the movie? God, I can't.
Sweet
think of
Home
it.
Alabama.
No, no,
Legally
I love that.
Blonde.
What?
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched that so many times.
Yeah,
It's
she's
embarrassing.
It's a great one.
Yeah, don't have this on the podcast.
Oh, we'll keep it.
Well, Mansour, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today, learning more about your book of business, your energy. As we stated many times, mild-mannered, very low-key, but you just get down and you do the work and you do a great job of it.
Thank you.
Parting gift here, we always like to give a donation of our guest choice to whatever is important to them in their life. Is there a shout-out you want to give to a charity that's important to you?
I'm always supporting N Street Village.
In Street
Yeah,
Village?
yeah.
Okay, we'll make a donation today to In Street Village.
Thank you.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Mansour.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.